Here are the 25 most invasive creatures on Earth. 25. The comb jelly is indigenous to temperate subtropical estuaries along the Atlantic coast of North and South America. In the early 1980s, it was accidentally introduced to the Black Sea, where it had a catastrophic effect on the entire ecosystem. In the last 2 decades of the 20th century, it invaded the Azov, Marmara, and Aegean Seas, and was recently introduced to the Caspian Sea. 24. The Nile Perch is a large freshwater fish that can grow up to 200 kilograms and reach up to 2 meters in length. It was introduced to Lake Victoria in 1954, where it's contributed to the extinction of more than 200 endemic fish species through predation and competition for food. 23. Believe it or not, the domesticated cat is one of the most invasive creatures on Earth. Considering the extent to which cats are valued as pets, it's not surprising that they have since been translocated by humans to almost all parts of the world. Notable predators, they threaten native bird life and other fauna, especially on islands where native species have evolved in relative isolation from predators. 22. The cannibal snail was introduced to Indian and Pacific Ocean islands from the 1950s onward as a biological control agent for the giant African snail. As its name suggests, this snail will eat anything in its path, even its own kind. 21. The Chinese freshwater edible crab invaded Europe and North America from Asia. During mass migrations, it contributes to the temporary disappearance of native invertebrates. It modifies habitats by causing erosion due to its intensive burrowing activity, and costs fisheries and aquaculture several $100,000 a year by consuming bait and trapped fish, and by damaging gear. 20. The loud call of the Caribbean tree frog is the main reason they are considered a pest, since their 2-note "coquille" can attain nearly 100 decibels at 0.5 meters. They are also known for having a voracious appetite, and there are fears in Hawaii that endemic insects and spider species are at risk due to this frog's unusual appetite. 19. The walking catfish is native to Southeast Asia and has been introduced in many places for fish farming. It's an opportunistic feeder and can go for months without food. During a drought, large numbers may congregate in isolated pools and consume other species, even causing their extinction. 18. The northern Pacific sea star has successfully invaded the southern coasts of Australia and has the potential to move as far north as Sydney. The sea star will eat a wide range of prey and has the potential for ecological and economic harm wherever it finds itself. 17. Raspberry crazy ants have invaded native ecosystems and caused environmental damage from Hawaii to the Seychelles and Zanzibar. On Christmas Island, they have formed multi-queen supercolonies. They're also decimating the red land crab populations. They prey on, or interfere in, the reproduction of a variety of arthropods, reptiles, birds, and mammals on the forest floor and canopy. 16. The common malaria mosquito is responsible for most cases of malaria in North America. They are commonly found at sites with abundant rooted aquatic vegetation, such as rice fields and adjacent irrigation ditches, freshwater marshes, and the vegetated margins of lakes, ponds, and reservoirs. 15. The Asian longhorn beetle is a large wood-boring beetle that is native to, Asia. It was first introduced to the US back in the mid-90s, and 20 years later, it threatens 30 to 35% of the trees in urban areas of the eastern US. The economic, ecological, and aesthetic impacts would be devastating if it continues to spread. 14. The Asian tiger mosquito is spread via the international tire trade due to the rainwater retained in the tires when stored outside. In order to control its spread, such trading routes must be highlighted for the introduction of sterilization or quarantine measures. They are associated with the transmission of many human diseases, including dengue fever, the West Nile virus, and Japanese encephalitis. 13. Burmese pythons might be a popular pet because of their attractive color pattern, reputed docility, and the allure of owning a giant snake. As predators, however, they pose a threat to endangered wildlife in South Florida. Their rapid and widespread invasion is facilitated by aspects of their natural history, including their diverse habitat use, broad dietary preferences, long lifespan, high reproductive output, and ability to move long distances. 12. The European starling is a notorious competitor and will aggressively lay claim to native bird nesting sites, kicking out the resident birds and their eggs. They compete with native birds for space and food, but also carry disease, ticks, and mites that are spread to native bird species and humans. They're also a threat to farmers, since flocks of birds can wipe out crops. 11. Killer bees are known to be highly aggressive and sting a lot, with some victims receiving more than 1,000 stings. In addition to being a threat to humans, they are also relatively lazy when it comes to producing honey, making them a threat to agricultural stability as well. 10. The gray squirrel may be cute and fuzzy, but in British Columbia it's ranked by the Invasive Species Specialist Group as one of the top 100 invasive species in the world. This small mammal has big ecological impact, often causing disease, and is responsible for displacing native birds from their nesting habitat and eating the birds' eggs and nestlings. 9. Zebra mussels are small, fingernail-sized creatures that attach to solid surfaces in water. A single female can produce 100,000 to 500,000 eggs per year, contributing to their successful invasions. These develop into microscopic free-living larvae that begin to form shells, taking over huge lakes. 8. The northern snakehead is native to China, Russia, North Korea, and South Korea. In Europe, the first report of the species was from Czechoslovakia in 1956. In the US, this fish is considered to be a highly invasive species, which has led to major media coverage and 2 horror films. 7. The cotton whitefly has been reported on all continents except Antarctica. It's believed to have spread throughout the world through the transport of plant products that were infested with them. Once established, it quickly spreads, and through its feeding habits and the transmission of diseases, causes destruction to crops everywhere. 6. The feral European rabbit is one of the most widely distributed and abundant mammals in Australia. It causes severe damage to the natural environment and to agriculture. Their control is complicated because of welfare and harvesting issues, and because both native and introduced predators feed on feral rabbits in many parts of Australia. An invader and victim at the same time? Pretty much. 5. Cane toads were introduced to many countries as biological control agents for various insect pests on sugarcane and other crops, but have proved to be pests themselves. They'll feed on almost any terrestrial animal and compete with native amphibians for food and breeding habitats. Their toxic secretions are known to cause illness and death in animals that come in contact with them, domestic and wild. 4. A native of the Indian subcontinent, the so-called black rat has now spread throughout the world. It's widespread in forests and woodlands, and can live in and around buildings. It will feed on and damage almost any edible thing. 3. When the brown tree snake was accidentally introduced to Guam, it caused the local extinction of most of the island's native bird and lizard species. It also caused cascading ecological effects by removing native pollinators, causing the subsequent decline of native plant species. 2. Beautiful and deadly, lionfish are known for their voracious appetite. Their overabundance is threatening life on coral reefs, which serve as habitats for other fish species. Native to the Pacific Ocean, they were traded for their bizarre appearance, which has led to their spread throughout the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic, and the Caribbean. 1. With a continuously growing population of over 7 billion, human beings have been responsible for the extinction of various living organisms. Additionally, no other living creature has damaged the atmosphere, nature, and other humans the way we have. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button in the top right corner so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these 2 videos here, or just head to our website at list25.com.